a whole bunch of subjects, whatever. If you ever want to know who a person is, this is what the Bible calls discernment, right? The Bible, it it basically doesn't go into like all the details of what discernment is. So with uh on behalf of the Lord, I'm gonna tell y'all what discernment is. Discernment is knowing what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, and how to go from there. So, what is discernment? Discernment is like paying attention to who you involving yourself with. You need that in this world so you don't be deceived, so you're not foolish and all this and that. In the words of a wise man, you will get as far as the people that you hang around mentally and in life. So, with that being said, a lot of people, I'm gonna keep it a bean. A lot of people have messed up their lives and all this based upon the people they chose to be around, do business with, this and that. So I always say, in hood terms, if you ever want to know who you're dealing with, which is discernment, you ever want to know, look at people's choices. That tell you everything you need to know about people. You want to know who somebody is, look at their decisions. Look at their choices. Look at who they choose to hang with, what they choose to listen to, things like that. That'll tell you everything you need to know. I had to do this for myself because it was one of them, okay, if my decisions ain't getting me to where I want to be, then I gotta change my decisions. That means I gotta look at how I spend my time, who I'm choosing to spend my time with, where I'm choosing to spend my time, because time is currency, which is why that's the one thing that prison takes from you. That's the one thing that uh, jail takes from you is time. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Ed Burt? Uh, you ever want to know people? Look at their decisions. A lot of people go out on dates with people and don't know who these people is because they're not really paying attention. They're not really paying attention because they're too busy looking at how good a person look, what they have, and what they feel they have to offer them. So, okay, check game though. This ain't to talk down on nobody, no celebrities. What's up? What's up? I never heard of you, but I'm going to subscribe. One love. Hi man, what's up? Dead operator. What's up, gang? No pun. Ed Burt, please. So we talking about, like, say you go out to date somebody, right? And then people will look in the future and they be like, dang, I shouldn't have made that decision and this, that, and the fifth. Before you even get down that road, the Bible speaks about discernment. Discernment is knowing who you dealing with. Look at a person's choices in their friends, what they listen to, where they choose to spend their time, what they choose to spend their time doing. Bro, like, okay, so Lotto, right? She is messing with a quote unquote married man. I don't know how true that is, but if this is true, the females who listen to Lotto is going to be making her same mistakes. And that's not to put Shorty down. They're just like, you got to use your discernment and who you dealing with. Which is why some people get in relationships and they go left. They go left because that shows we wasn't paying attention to who we was dealing with. And no matter how much God tries to tell us, we have to do our due diligence in who we choose to call friends. Okay, like, say like you wonder why people don't support you or something like that, right? If you wonder why people don't support you and all that, you got to look at, the discernment. The discernment is like, how did me and this person become friends in the first place? If y'all became friends because uh this person helped you fight somebody, that don't mean they gonna help you start a business. That's not that person you could do that with, because how y'all became friends, that's just like if you got with a girl cause you yelled at her, then when you not that same person, because that's who they remember. In their mind, you've changed. If you not that same way when you meet a person, that's why that relationship ends. Most relationships end, people be saying, side note, man, I don't know what went wrong. Look at how y'all became, you know, compatible. Look at how y'all started dating. That'll tell you everything you need to know. If you first day you went on a date with Shorty and you playing trap music, this is who she think you are. And when you start, all of a sudden you listen to Adele and stuff like that as time goes on, in her mind, you've changed. Uh, Everybody call me legend, man. Um, in her mind, you've changed. That's why, when women date and stuff like that, they be like, I wonder what went wrong. You have to be that same person on the first day that you are throughout the relationship, or else you acted different. That's what changed. It's not that you changed. Sometimes you grow up. But you got to look at how y'all became friends. Oh, we became friends because we like to gossip, the tea. And when you don't got the tea, what you think they going to do? They only going to be around you for the tea. Now, Lotto getting with 21 Savage, it's not my business. Him being married, not my business. According to God's standard, once you married, you are married until literally death do us part. And once you pass on or they pass on, one of y'all is free, basically. That's how the Bible looks at it. So if God can't agree, then it's a lie. So with that being said, if it don't match God's word, then it's a lie. So with that being said, I'm not putting Lotto down. I'm not putting 21 Savage down. But I'm just keeping it being. I don't know these people. So I don't have respect of person like, oh, well, I like this person, so I'm a sugarcoat it. Oh, well, 21 Savage is my man, so I'm I'm a sway my opinion just to just cause me and him cool. Like, nah, we not doing that. We call a spade here. So with that being said, 21 Savage being married, like, you ain't letting your mind grow with the money. It would have been better had you stayed with your wife, but that's just me. Now you got a whole nother situation with a female you really don't want to marry. If you were making wise decisions, you would have waited until, like, you found a person that you like to be with and then settle down with them. I wouldn't recommend people get married, but because the Bible say, I spare you. I'm sparing you. If you are not, if you don't have a wife, seek not to get a wife. If you have a wife, seek not to get divorced. The Bible specifically explains it's not a wrong thing to be married, but when y'all, like, okay, check this out though. I'm gonna tell y'all this. Do you know that when y'all lay with a person, y'all are spiritually tied to each other, which is why I always say you don't take a person back after they chose somebody else over you, or they cheated on you or something like that, or they broke up with you and they went on about their business. The reason why is because they become one one flesh, which is why people like, man, this person acting different. They don't act the same because they not the same person no more. This is where discernment comes in at. Discernment says, this person is acting different than when I met them. You know, they got different friends now. They listen to different type of music. They're not the same no more. So this is not me putting people down. This is so y'all understand what discernment is. Discernment is, okay, let me look at a person's decisions. When people go out with people and stuff like that, dudes will be wearing nice clothes, they'll wear nice chain, and wonder why this person wasn't there when they fell off. Because in their mind, you're not the same person that they once met. When dudes is coming up with these creative pickup lines to get a woman, you have to be that same way that you were when you met that person. You know, this ain't me telling y'all, oh well, life don't have ups and downs. You gotta look at it the way they looking at it. Don't take nothing personal. Everything as a learning lesson. If you can. Bro. So with that being said, which is why Cardi B, right? Cardi B and Offset, they broke up. Cardi B and Offset broke up because Offset wasn't being the same person that he was when she met him. He wasn't being that same person. Like, you always there for her, you can't wait to see her, you treating her right, and things like that. And then once you start cheating, now you gotta be that same liar, that same cheater. But Offset is ready to grow up. But he wondering what changed. What changed is you started off lying. You started off cheating. But the problem is when you start, not being you. You wasn't all jealous. You wasn't all insecure and all that nonsense. Because how you start is how you finish. How you start is how you finish. If you met a shorty and like you was in shape, why do you think she's going to be attracted to you when you didn't present yourself like that? If she met you unattractive, her being with you while you unattractive is not going to be a problem for her because you was unattractive when she met you. But then you start getting in shape, you start looking good, and the problems start. Why? Because that wasn't you when she met you. When y'all first met, you all on her heels, you trying to get a date, you begging and pleading and all that. You gonna have to do that the whole relationship. Bro, like, I'm not jiving with y'all. You gonna have to keep doing that same stuff that you did to get her. If you were chasing your dreams when you met her, yo, I want to be this and this and that, and you constantly chasing your dreams, that's what she expects of you. That's what she expects. Discernment, that's where discernment comes in at, because that's why I always tell dudes, I'm like, y'all be like, oh, well, she changed. Are you sure that it wasn't you that changed? I'm keeping it a bean. Like, okay, say you met shorty and you met her, you was cussing her out. I don't recommend that, but you was cussing her out left and right. Then when you try to become spiritual, why is you mad that relationship ended? Because you not being that same person. So that's why I say, man, how you start is how you finish. You got to be that same person that entire relationship. Now me, off rip, I tell y'all, like, say you met a shorty broke, right? You met a shorty broke. No wonder she there when you broke, because she met you broke. But then when you start get rich, you start, spending less time with her and stuff like that. That's why that relationship ended, because you're not the same person that she was once with. So that's why I say you don't take nothing personal. Everything as a learning lesson. He said, why? Because, okay, when Jesus started off the Bible, do you think people would have kept following Jesus had he sinned? They wouldn't have kept following Jesus had Jesus sinned, because what Jesus preached is what he had to stand on. So, your word is bond. So with that being said, people wouldn't have followed Jesus had Jesus sinned because he was against that. So if he would have sinned, that would have made him look like a hypocrite. You see what I'm saying? So discernment is understanding. How did we become friends? What did I do in the beginning? All that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you keep a person. Dudes be saying, oh, these women changed. Women ain't changed. Women have not changed since the time it started. Men have not changed. Men have not changed. The problem is that we start thinking differently once we become wiser. But those relationships end because we not those same people no more, or we don't want to be that same person. Offset, he a cheat, right? Offset a cheat, and then he'll go apologize. Offset a cheat, then he'll go apologize. But then when you ready to be loyal and all this, why is y'all mad that Cardi B is, sometimes I say, and I could tell you there's a man walk for 27 years. Me personally, I say people can believe whatever they want to believe. People welcome to believe in whoever they want to believe. Now, I believe in Jesus Christ, but that's for another subject. But when Jesus was he would go preach and stuff like that. Mary Magdalene followed Jesus because some people, they become intrigued and all that, whatever, to see if you really about what you say you about. If you really, on what you say you on. That's the discernment. The discernment is like, okay, if Jesus hung out with sinners, they automatically thought he was a sinner. But they'd have to prove his sin. It's not a sin to be around sinners. But the problem is if Jesus would have sinned along with those sinners. He practiced what he preached. So you can't be a man that say, oh, well, money is everything. I'm all about this money. I'm all, and this and that. But when they see you, your decisions is showing you not really active chasing money, or you ain't got a dollar to your name. In their mind, you've changed. When most of these dudes, they got on all these chains, but then say you hit on hard times and you start realizing these chains don't matter. That relationship will end because you're not that same person no more. Because that's not how they met you. That's discernment, looking at a person's choices, decisions, and not taking it personally. Like, you may have had a bunch of friends, right? You may have had a bunch of friends, but how did you gain those friends? Did you gain those friends by being a goofy? Doing stupid stuff? Did you gain those friends because you had wealth? Did you gain those friends because y'all always linked up at the parties? The discernment is, if I'm not that person no more, then I won't have those friends no more. Plain and simple. If I don't want to go out to the clubs no more, those won't be my friends, because those same friends will not help me start a business. Those same friends that like to party might not help me fight. Those friends that might help me fight won't help me start a business, or won't go to the parties because they don't care for the parties. You got to know who you dealing with, what you dealing with, and stop taking everything personal. Okay, if you a hard worker and then you start slacking, people gonna have an issue with that. Why? Because that's how you led. You got to keep being that same person. Now, me, as soon as I met a chick, I thought back to when I met her, how I met her, what was I doing, what was I not doing, and this and that. So once you start, say say, okay, you was with a person, and dudes, they start off the relationship by being violent. If she finds another person, she gonna find another person that she felt comfortable with, because if she's been with you that long, which is why dudes be like Offset, like, She went and got a dude that's worse than me, cause that's what you made comfortable. Like, do you know who is the fastest man in the world? I don't know who the fastest man in the world is. Um, it'll be another one after him. I'm gonna keep it a bean. But when Offset was wondering why Cardi B got with a dude that was worse than him, that's just equivalent to if a dude abuse a woman, she don't know how to act with a man that don't abuse her. Usain Bolt. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Uh, she won't know how to act with a dude that don't abuse her, which is why dudes is wondering like, why, why she so crazy and all this and that. You got to know what a person's been through in order to understand them. So, if somebody never had somebody in their corner, that's foreign to them. Which is why some guys be like, man, you know, I'm kind to this person. Some women be like, well, I treat this person right. Why they don't treat me right? You have to understand. That's where discernment comes in at. That's why when y'all go out with people, you get to know people. Once you get to know people, then you can understand who they are. Okay, if a kid say we are just grown kids. I'm gonna put it like that. We just grown kids. That runs almost as fast as a person, speed, and a bike. Yeah, facts. Um, I mean, I wouldn't win against them in a race, but okay, we are just grown kids. Remember that we just grown kids. So whatever we haven't dealt with, that's who they are as adults. No matter how much money you got, no matter how good a woman looks, the same way they were when they were kids, that's who they are. Just keeping it a bean, like, okay, say a dude deals with abandonment issues, or a woman deals with abandonment issues. What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna try to run everybody off. Just keeping it a bean, because in their mind, everyone's gonna leave them. Everybody's gonna, if they've been hurt or their heart's been broken, they'll try to push people to do that. Like, why you think that uh like people start arguments and stuff like that? Because they're used to living in that. They're used to it. And if you decide to do that, then you will keep having to be that type of person. If you worship the ground she walked on when you met her, you will keep having to be that person. You'll keep having to do that. So how you start is really how you finish. You know, if Usain Bolt, that's just like you said Usain Bolt. If Usain Bolt was fast, he'll have fans and all that. But once he starts to slow up, people will still be a fan, but in their minds, you not that person no more. So they gonna look for the fastest person in the world. That's how people are. Usain Bolt run a 24.7 and the person on the bike is 25. Hey yo, it depends on if they riding the bike and the dog is behind them or the police. Like, listen, it's a difference. They bite. Hey, Usain Bolt, you might have a challenge. So that's why I say how you start is how you finish. Bro. That's discernment. If you go out and you see a female and she hanging with some bops, not that she's a bop, not that to put women down, but birds of a feather have to flock together. She thinks like they do. She probably don't make the same decisions that they make, but that's her. If all these chicks she hang out with is like preppy and all that, she may not live like them, but people who think alike hang out. Just keeping it a bean. Like, okay, do you think you will ever see a person like Lotto hang with um Aquila in the beat? Like, no. She might She might hang with her, but they won't have the same group of friends unless they think alike. That's just like Offset is not going to hang around Bill Gates. Bill Gates is not going to hang around Offset. It's not that they wouldn't hang out with each other. Only way we hang out with each other is if we think alike. That's what continues that friendship. So if a chick is used to getting cheated on, she not gonna care about a dude being loyal. She's gonna try to push him to do what she's used to, and that's cheat. She gonna check his phone. She gonna start issues to, cause that's what she's used to. That's why I say if you ever want to know a person, look at their decisions. The people they choose to be friends with. Look at all that. That says everything. Like, if a dude is insecure, it don't matter how much money he got, he's always going to be insecure. That don't mean he has to continue to be like that. That just, we just keeping it a beam. Because when he ain't got that, he's always insecure. I remember off this Tubi movie, right? This dude was dating a stripper. And then he told her, yeah, you better not be out here messing with these men. What? Her job is dealing with men. Like, what are you talking about? He checking her phone and all that. But when he stops doing that, she's going to try to make him do that because why? That's what she's used to, because that's what you got her used to. If you got her used to you not being ish, then that's what she's used to. She's going to, why do you expect her to be your loudest fan when she's used to you not being ish? She's going to push you to not be ish because that's what you got her used to. Like, you want to blame somebody, blame yourself on bro. Like, dudes like, well, like off that song, Kiss Kiss, a dude called into the radio station on that Chris Brown song, right? He called into the radio station. He said, my girl ain't doing the things she used to do at all. Okay. You may not be how you used to be when you met her. You may not even be the same type of dude when you met her. That's not to say, oh, that's your fault. People don't grow. We supposed to grow together. That would be nice, but that ain't always the truth. Sometimes we grow apart. Sometimes we grow together. It's all a choice. It's all a choice. But people are people of habit. So if the dude, he's talking about she's not doing what she used to do, but are you the same type of man that she once met? That same guy, like he was probably in the gym. He was probably focused more on the money. He wasn't really focused too much on her. Or he was the type that never bought roses and I don't know where he buying roses and all that other stuff. You got to look at your choices. They got to look at their choices. Because you can't fix another person. You can't fix yourself. But you got to know, if you become different than who she knew, can I give you a riddle and you can answer? Oh, that's fine. If you first started, like, okay, most dudes, when they meet a female or something like that, they be in shape or something like that, or they might not be in shape. They working. It depends on what you got her used to. It depends on what you got her used to. If you were pampering her with affection, she's going to expect that from you. And she's going to do anything to get that. She might try to get under your skin to get your attention. She might try to start an argument because she's used to you arguing with her. She's used to this or that, this or that. So I always say women are a reflection of us.